Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Tavern. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good evening, everybody.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers. Happy Monday, boys. I guess we need to make that. Let's start with that announcement. This will be our last Monday show. Yeah, last Monday show. So that we don't have to compete with Monday Night Football. And
we know where we sit in the rankings.
Well, you know what it is we just didn't want them to have our fans pick us over Monday Night Football, and we know how that works. So we're gonna go ahead and make it better for everybody, and we are gonna move to Tuesday night starting next week.
Yeah, due to Nielsen ratings, we have to bump.
We have to bump. Yep. So
Dave has to watch his Dolphins lose on Monday night.
Yep,
that's also true. That's true.
I think they only have one Monday night game this year.
I was going to ask, do they even have a Monday night game this year?
Yeah. Like, I feel like they probably deserve a Thursday night game. They don't even deserve a Monday night game.
They have two Thursday night games.
I mean, that sounds about right.
Are the Thursday night games going to be better this year? Because they were garbage at the beginning of last year.
No, because Amazon paid too much. Amazon paid too much money, and they're just going to screw them. Like, they screwed ESPN. Again, the game of the week has really become the Sunday night game that NBC has, and that's always been the best matchup, and it's painful to watch.
But here's the thing, it's not even just the best matchup. It's just that you had these teams, like, you had decent matchups. The games were just boring on Thursdays. Like, I don't know what it was. It was like 3-2.
Tired.
It's like a safety and a field goal. All right.
I mean,
this is not the
also
football.
we're watching Iowa play.
I mean,
the Big Ten.
Punting is winning.
What was that game? Was it Iowa State, or what was the game where it was like
every Iowa
last
game?
Year? No, there was a game last year that the game, it was like a 3-6 game at like going into like the last
Iowa State.
Yeah. Hey, before we start, since we're already on other topics, did anybody catch the end of the College World Series or the Little League World Series this weekend?
Walk-off homer.
The walk-off homer. And the announcer curse that happened with it, where they said the team from I forgot where they were from. They literally hadn't given up a home run in the Little League World Series, and the dude walked off on him, like went bridge. It was great.
Yep.
Dingers.
And then dingers, yeah. And then did anybody catch the crash at Daytona this weekend?
Did not.
Yeah, that's pretty.
If you walked away, I mean, again, they talk about safety and everything in NASCAR. That was ridiculous. So, all right, let's talk golf because
Daytona happens in February, and this is August.
This was the Coke Zero 400. It's the second race in Daytona. It wasn't rain. It didn't have a rain delay, which this race typically has a rain delay. So
yeah,
so I know somewhere that did have a rain delay on Sunday.
Yes, it did. An hour and 53 minutes. The Victor Hovland upping the Tour Championship? Like,
I'll just say,
thank you.
He is. We had 4 events. The last 4 events were won by 2 people.
Yep, correct.
That's it.
Correct.
Like that was 2 people won the last 4 events, and it was exciting. I think it goes back to what we talked about at the end of last week. Like, I think they do need to do away with the flighted system of starting with 10 under.
So
and things like that.
I went.
It didn't really make.
It didn't make it. No, it did. It did because Xander and Victor both shot 261, which was 19 under on their own balls this week. But because Victor finished higher, that's why he won. Wyndham shot 12 under on his ball. He would have finished third regardless. But then Sam Burns and Colin Morikawa both ended up 10 under. And had they just started off straight, they would have gone from T9 to T4.
Yeah.
So it made a difference in their pay as well. So that was an interesting way to look at it. Again, they need to come up with a better solution. Is it 2 days of stroke play to seed match play, and where does that fall in? Or do you do a cut and have 8 guys play on the weekend after? There needs to be a better way of doing it.
It's a good point, Eric.
But here's the thing. Did you see the quote from John Rahm that he was just so upset, like after like the broadcasters and talking about, well, he missed a putt and that cost him, $4 million. He's like, as players, we don't think about that. We're not worried about the money. He goes, look, I'm in a different financial situation than a lot of players that are on tour. He goes, but I'm not thinking that if I miss a putt, that's going to cost me this, or this. He goes, we're thinking about how to get to the next shot, how to do this, how to do that. He goes, I really wish broadcasters would really stop talking about the money, especially on Thursday and Friday.
Well, didn't I say that last week? Like, let's not talk like on Thursday where they're talking about, where does it put this player? Where does it put that player? Now, it doesn't matter on Thursday. It doesn't matter. It's kind of like The Rock says, it doesn't matter. Like, nobody cares on Thursday what happens. Let's talk about it on Sunday when it really matters. And I'm also something that did happen on Thursday was my pick for the week. Rory announced right before he teed off that he hurt his back at home during the week and he came in late. Really, Rory, thanks for waiting to the end to tell us that one because that was cute. I appreciate that. As someone who picked you last week, you pain in the butt.
Hey, here's the thing. That brings me to also Rom's comment, and someone else was commenting on it too. Was the gambling on golf events and that people yelling and doing stuff? Here's the thing: people have been gambling on golf and stuff for years.
Yeah. Have we all seen the videos where they're all taking bets on who's going to cross the tee box first? Like
golf,
like
golfers
like,
gamble
it is
on
what
each
it
other.
is.
Like,
right?
It is what it is. Like, here's the thing: if someone is disrespecting the game and going to yell so they can like help their odds, kick them out.
There's that. Yeah,
ban them and stuff like that.
Can we also? Hey, can I just cut? Can I interject? Can we also say if you yell mashed potatoes, you get kicked out?
No. That's a staple on a golf tournament now.
Baba Booey.
Like, Baba Booey can get kicked
in the hole on a par 5.
Oh, yeah. So we were watching. My son and I were watching the last few holes on Sunday, and that's what he kept saying. He's like, hit it in the hole. Like he kept saying it. He's only 2 years old, but that's what he kept saying. He's gonna hit it in the hole. I'm like, he's teeing off. It's not gonna go in the hole in this one.
Yeah. No. Do we want to address the elephant in the room?
That Dave's a Phillies fan?
One?
Well, no, we already know that. Scotty Scheffler's putter.
Come on, you liked the meme I sent you guys from Moneyball?
Yeah.
He's a monster. It's gargantuan drives. I feel you're combining Bagger, Vance, and everything. Gargantuan drives off the tee. Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
But that's been the whole year.
He had a putting problem.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that a little bit more later in the show, I think, too. So we get into Ryder Cup time.
I have one complaint on course setup for the whole week. I love the 15th hole out there.
It's Eastlake.
Yeah, again, great golf course. Not arguing that. Why do you play the 15th hole on Sunday with all the money on the line at 145 yards? Not from 215. Why do you not play it at 150 yards, 145 yards on Friday?
We've talked about this. And they're like making par threes. Like we've seen it throughout the majors this year where they've had long par threes and they've had like a 96-yard par three.
I don't mind.
I
actually don't mind that hole at the Tour Championship on the back nine with one of the last 3 holes remaining. Like you're on 15, hit a golf shot. Don't hit a wedge. Like because
145 yards still is a golf shot.
I agree with you.
I'm pretty sure our buddy Lee will tell you he wants them to hit a wedge all the time. I'm just going to say
I mean, that's true, but but here's my problem. Like, it's not 17 at Sawgrass. That green is like twice the size of 17 at Sawgrass. It's a massive green.
And you're hitting how many guys still made par?
A bunch.
At 145 yards, how many guys still made par?
I don't. Again, I would have like if you're going from the tour staff, if you're going to set that hole up, set it up there on Friday. I don't mind you setting it up there one day during the week. I just think that if you're going to do it on when you've got $18 million on the line to the winner, we already saw Scotty Scheffler earlier in the week on Thursday hit a ball in the water there and make double because his putter left him alone. Like again, why not set that hole up as hard as possible with $18 million on the line on Sunday? Hit a golf shot.
Here's the thing: what's as hard as possible because.
Played at 215 with that. Played at 215 to that front left flag. Good luck.
Yeah, but for maybe for you and I and Dave, but the tour players, it's not going to make much of a difference from 145 and 215.
I watched Scotty Scheffler miss the green left and hit one in the drink there on Thursday. Watching coverage again, is Scotty Scheffler going to miss the green left with a wedge in his hand? Probably not. On a green that's twice the size of the stadium at Sawgrass, like that green's.
But then he's going to have to putt. And it's not going to matter. So that's my
Right.
point. It's like,
Yeah.
because I don't know what's on with that putter, but he needs to change to something.
Yeah.
It's not a touchdown, Dave. You're watching baseball.
I know.
Are you still doing your
Congratulations to Dave for picking Victor Hovland again.
Yes.
And
I've won
Victor,
twice. I won twice with him this year.
3 times I've picked him to win, and you've picked him twice. We've won with Sep.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
The European team is doing very well for us.
Yeah. And hey, Steve, congratulations on getting shut out this year.
Yeah, well, let's look at where our picks finished this year. Can we talk about that for a minute?
Well, where our picks finished, we all had the best pick 11 times because you and I tied 2 weeks.
Yeah.
In the things we picked. On average, you won on average placements.
That's right.
It came down to you had a hot start, and then I was leading on average, and then I had I don't know what happened in the middle.
You went on a miscut streak. You were like you were like Justin Thomas. I mean, what?
I was.
But here's the thing.
That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I had the most wins and the most missed cuts. I didn't do anything in like the top 10.
No, yeah, you picked the most people that actually won the event.
Yes.
So, and you and I are the only ones that did.
You were all or nothing. You were all or nothing. Dave.
Yeah.
I was all or nothing.
I had the first
money.
I had the
also
first
what got me in the money.
You did have the first miscut. You also got 2 of the 4 majors. I won the first major, hence the hat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, is that it?
Yeah, that's.
I'm wearing my hat from Old Waverly, so yep.
Okay. But overall, good season. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but congratulations. So with that, I think, Dave, we don't really have a tournament next week, but we'll let you talk. What do you got for us, Dave?
So last week, thanks to Victor paid me out. I had 5-1, and plus I had a bump bet on that, so I got about 11-1 odds on Victor last week. So that was helpful. Early Ryder Cup standings right now for early bets on the Ryder Cup.
Team Europe for the win.
Team Europe right now is plus 1.5.
Yep.
USA is minus 1.5, and it's 12-1 odds on a tie. So those are your early Ryder Cup standings. That's all I got.
I don't see a tie this year. I can tell you that.
No,
I don't see a tie this year at all. Yep.
It'll be fun in Italy.
Yeah. Odds was Dave with very short this week.
So all right. Well, I mean, with that being said,
yes, it is time for
happy hour.
And pretty excited tonight. Happy hour. If you look over my right shoulder here, you see this minimal golf bag. It's version 1, and I'm really excited to welcome Sam, their CEO and founder, to the show. So, Sam, welcome to the Tavern. Sam, how are you tonight?
Hey, I'm doing good, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you great. Thanks.
Cheers.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Perfect. Cheers. I have a sparkling water.
Nice.
Cheers.
Yep.
Nice. Well, Sam,
we have a golf lesson going on. I'm at the studio here in Redondo Beach. I'll give you a quick little kind of over the shoulder. We've got a
nice
skate ramp, a little retail shop, and we've got 2 golf simulators in the back. And our head teaching pro is giving a lesson now, so hopefully that's not super annoying for you. But
and you've got, I mean, balls. You're in Redondo Beach, so you've got surfboards there. You're ready to go. Anything you want to do right now, huh? So
yeah, it's kind of like the prerequisite for this area. You kind of have to have skateboards, surfboards, and golf. But
nice.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of found myself in a pretty good spot.
Nice. No, that's awesome. Well, Sam, first off, thank you for joining us again tonight. We really appreciate you coming on. Minimal, why don't you start by telling us where the idea for Minimal golf bags, where Minimal came from, and where you are today?
It's, I feel like it's such a cliche, but it really is just like I played a lot of golf. I coached a lot of golf. I played competitive golf in high school and college and professionally, and never with the guys that you were just talking about on the PGA Tour. And, but yeah, I mean, I think when I stopped playing full time and started playing a little bit more like casual variety of the game, I just realized that there's just, an opportunity to create something that suited kind of the direction the modern golfer was going. And, that being like a little bit smaller footprint when it comes to the bag, definitely lightweight, something that could go out for a 9-hole round, something you could have a beverage or two if you wanted to with, and listen to music. And so it started with just like the idea of having like kind of a Sunday bag that you could also use, to throw on a cart. And then as I was developing this idea, I would talk to friends and be like, oh, it's going to be like a Sunday bag, except it's going to have a stand. It's going to have a backpack strap, and you can put it on a cart, and then we're not going to have any zippers. And they're like, oh, like you should incorporate other things that like fit the modern game. And I'm like, yeah, like what? And one guy was like, dude, you got to be able to like put a Bluetooth speaker on there. And then I was like, yeah, it's a good idea. Oh, but then the speaker will die. And then I was like, oh, what if we put a solar panel on it? And then I literally just like went down this extreme rabbit hole. And I was at a time in my life where I had a little window, an opportunity to just like go really deep on this. And it's kind of crazy, but within like maybe 3 months of the idea being something like that I decided I wanted to pursue, I think I had a sample already like in production. And it was really like just fortunate too. I didn't know how to do any of this. I was just like telling my friends, like, what do you think if I do this? And then I'd be like, does anybody know where like a manufacturing plant is where this stuff can get made? And we just like trickled along. And then all of a sudden one guy was like, oh, I know a guy. And then that guy knew a guy. And sure enough, a few months later, everybody seemed to know enough guys and girls. And, just like, it came
I have to tell you, I mean, my bag's sitting here over my right shoulder. And if you ask me if the solar panel was in it, it's not. I had it out charging today because I'm actually in Central Florida and we've got that hurricane heading our way. So I was making sure that we had at least another backup charger because my kids' iPads, if we lose power, is going to be a necessity. So,
yeah, I mean, you guys have I was in the Hurricane Maria when I was living in Puerto Rico after I played golf full time. And, I was down there for a couple of years, and I was in Hurricane Maria, and I literally we just donated a few solar power banks to Maui for the fires over there. And it's funny because like part of that experience of being in Puerto Rico and not having power and being without it, I think just like anyway. I'm glad you have an extra power bank.
Yeah, it's definitely charging just for my kids so that they have entertainment value if we lose power. So
yeah, good.
I think it would be pretty fitting, Steve, if after a hurricane you were walking around charging your phone by carrying a golf bag, and people would just be like, "What the heck?"
Hey, listen, last year during a hurricane, I did post that video. And I'll go and repost it of me hitting a golf ball in the middle of a hurricane. So that did happen last year. So
Florida man strikes again.
As Sam knows, and social media relatively quickly, I will say you guys grew your social media following very quickly. Anything for social media, you're going to do it, right?
So, yeah, it's funny you say that. I mean, that's another one of those things. Like I have had a golf instruction platform for like since 2009. I think I was pretty early on in YouTube. A buddy of mine was like, you got to go on YouTube, and he finally convinced me. So I did that kind of early on and was fortunate there to create a little bit of a platform. But when it came to like growing a social media, I'd never started a brand or anything. And honestly, like all it was I was giving lessons to this kid when he was like 6-7 years old, this kid Campbell. And Campbell is one of those kids who just like has a mind for like organization and spreadsheets and all things. Like I remember his dad, I was giving lessons to Campbell, and his dad invited me over for dinner, and his dad was like, hey, Campbell, he's like, watch this, Sam. Hey, Campbell, who was the starting lineup on the Dodgers in like 1987 something? And Campbell's like, before the All-Star break or after? And I'm like, what? what? And he like listed them off. He's like, yeah, Campbell just loves this stuff. I don't know where he gets it. So then, 10 years later, I'm in LA and I'm talking to his dad again, and Campbell and his dad and I are playing golf together, and he's telling me about this Instagram that Campbell was running that had like 50,000 followers, and this is in 2018. So 50,000 was like quite a bit back in 2018.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, tell me about that. What is that? And he's like, I don't know, Campbell just like did some research, figured out the algorithms, and now he has a successful Instagram account. And Campbell was, I think, 15 or 14 and a half at the time. So his dad literally said to me on that round of golf, he was like, I don't know how he's going to monetize that. And I was like, I do. I'm going to hire him. He's going to run Minimal Golf's Instagram account. We've been alive for like 2 months or something. And we had 300 followers on Instagram. And Campbell, within a year, I think he got us to like 20,000 followers. And then another, couple years later, we're at 43,000 or something. And we've changed our strategy a little bit to be less clickbait, we're not hitting golf balls and hurricanes anymore, but we are, I think we're doing a pretty good job of providing a decent little Instagram, and Campbell's just done like a ridiculous job at promoting that. So again, all credit due to the 16-year-old kid. He's crushing it. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, you have a great product that you've put out there, and so we're here, to talk about the bag and the uniqueness of the bag. We've talked about like how it has a solar panel, but the thing that I think is really interesting is, and I like this on like head covers and everything. And I like that now you've put it on a bag, magnets, not having zippers, not having Velcro, not having magnets. So where did that idea come from of changing up something and making it unique and very functional in that way?
Yeah, I think I had like the green light. Like once I realized I was going to do this, it was just like all of a sudden it became like, what would be really sick? Like what would I make if I could make the best golf bag ever made? And then it was like, okay, well, number one problem for me that I've ever experienced. Well, there's a lot of problems with golf bags that I've experienced. And to be honest, we haven't solved them all. Like we're still working on some. But one of the easy ones, or like the most obvious ones, is the pocket you use the most is the one that the zipper is going to break on, right? Like it's not like you've got this, this side pocket where you don't put anything in there and that zipper breaks. No, it's the one that's got like your balls and your tees. And so then in the trunk of your car, it's balls and tees everywhere because your zipper's broken. And this one tiny little $1 or less piece of the golf bag can render the whole thing useless. And I was just like, we got to see if we can find a way to eliminate that. And it wasn't even that hard. We talked to the factory, and I was like, here's the goal, no zippers. And they were like, yeah, okay, we'll try it out. We had a sketch, and we gave them the sketch, and I got the sample back, and I was like, this totally works. Like this totally works. And we made some improvements to the pocket opening and closures since then. But really the reason that most companies don't do it is because it's costly. It's like, our magnets, they're considered precious metals by China. So when you order a magnet and it gets mined, it gets the tax of a precious metal. And so to make a golf bag with magnets is like probably roughly 8 times more than it would be if you were just making it with zippers. So if you're making 100,000 of these things, like Titleist, 100,000 carry bags or something a year, making 100,000 of those, $8 extra or $16 extra is a considerable change. But for me, I was like, what's $8? Like, we'll just charge $8 more. Like, who cares? Because we're only selling I only ordered 400 bags the first time. So yeah, it's a lot of money, but ultimately to the customer, I'm like, dude, if I'm the customer, I'll pay an extra $8 for that. So yeah, that was kind of it. It was like zippers break. They're the number one failure. I've later learned that they're the number one failure on a golf bag or any garment bag in general, or backpack. And magnets work, so why not?
That's a great idea. I think it makes that unique and something that, like you said, you don't think about that, but that's the one thing. Like, unless you get a hole in the bottom of your golf bag and your club goes through it, like the zipper's the first thing to break.
What'd you do? How'd that happen?
So, we were playing in South Carolina, and Dave's had a bag for years,
Yeah.
and we're in the middle of a round, and Dave literally throws his wedge in the bag, and it goes right on through the bottom of it. Like, they just wore out the bottom of the bag.
And Sam, I'm gonna say this: Dave plays less golf.
So,
of the three of us, he plays the least amount of golf.
Yeah.
And he just broke his second bag since then. So, like, this dude breaks bags. Like, if you ever need somebody to test a bag for durability, just send it to Dave. He'll figure out how to break it.
If Dave can't break it, you've hit the perfect golf bag.
We've done our job. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So I'm in the market for a new bag right now, Sam. So, but yeah, I think with the magnet idea, like we talked to our friends at Groove It the other week, and he said the same thing about magnets. It was nice, simple, and nice, strong, powerful magnets. And I've seen Steve's bag, and it works great. But for me, like the guy that is not as competitive as Greg and Steve, and I'm the one out here to have fun. So for me, it's music on the course. I love music, having that on there, and you got the speaker and the solar on there. Where did those ideas kind of come from for you for incorporating that into the bag?
The speaker, I think this goes back a few years before that. I was actually helping, I was working for 18 Birdies app, and I was pretty early on there. I was like the first employee in North America, and doing a ton of research on the use of cell phones or smartphones on the golf course. And I was just like, because we had that, this was 2014, 2015. So there was like this, it's hard to even believe now, but there was like a time not that long ago that the speaker wasn't that welcome. It was like, even just using your phone wasn't very welcome for a long time. And now I think we're probably like 80% of the way there, where like just everybody accepts it's part of life, for GPS or whatever. But at that time, 18 Birdies app was trying to figure out, are people using their phone on the course, and how much are they, and what are they using it for? Because they're an app for golf that you need to use while you're playing. And so I worked with the National Golf Foundation, and I just asked a million people, how many people are using the phone on the course? What are they using it for? And it turns out that like in 2014, 2015, we were seeing a shift. It was about to flip over and like be at that tipping point. And so when I was thinking about developing the bag later in 2018, it was like, well, absolutely, we're ready for this. And man, honestly, when I was competing, if somebody brought a speaker out, I was like, what are you doing? Like, I'm not at the club. I'm not at that club. I'm like here to practice. I'm focused. I was very, very serious as a practicer and a player. And so when somebody brought music out, I was like, dude, take that like somewhere else. This is not a casual thing for me. But it did, like I said before, when I started playing golf from a little bit different perspective, I was like, oh my God, like this is great. Music is great. This is so cool. And had so many like enjoyable sunset rounds where I'm just walking, carrying my bag, good playlist. It just like added everything to it. So I definitely wanted to have a speaker. And then of course, speakers, you have batteries and those die, and that's a pain. And I was just trying to figure out how we could incorporate the things that we love and the things we want to do in golf now and just make it like kind of an all-in-one thing. And we're still working on it, like the speaker to be loud enough and sound quality to be high enough, it has to have a big magnet in it. The magnet's the source of like how big the sound can be. And that magnet's heavy. And then you also have to have a battery, and that battery is big. So you have a magnet that weighs a lot and a big battery to power it. And then you want it in a small package. And so I was trying to figure out and still trying to figure out the best way to package good sound quality with a long lasting battery life in a waterproof thing, because you're playing with your bag in nature. And we're always working on it. I was going through my list today. I have a Post-it note list on my laptop, and I was going through it today, and every single day I see this note about the speaker. And almost every third or fourth day I reach back out to the factory and ask them, how are we coming with the speaker? What are we looking at right now? Because we want to make the longest lasting battery life with good enough sound and waterproof. And I think that's always improving. So yeah, hopefully that answered the question, where did it come from?
Sam, I'm going to ask. I mean, a lot of sandbags are made from a nylon type material, not real waterproof, not real. Like you could take a knife to it and really just pen grab it and just cut it. Your bag, and for those people that haven't seen them, it's more of a, I wouldn't call it leather, but it's close to a good a quality, almost like what they put on a PGA Tour staff bag almost. But the one thing that's amazing about it is I can literally pick it up with one finger because it's so light. How did you guys literally keep the weight down and not go with that, whether it's canvas or whatever that product is? That
Nylon,
the nylon, yeah.
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, first of all, at the time when I was trying to develop this golf bag, it was definitely like super transitional period for golf. We're still in it, but like that traditional nylon is something that we've seen for like, I don't know, roughly 20 years. Before that, the tour bags were very like leathery, and you had like, even before that, you had like that big Wilson bag that was like a leather looking bag and weighed a ton, and it was
I had one of those.
leather. Yeah, they're actually like super cool. Like everybody's using them again because they're kind of like retro, but functionally they're terrible, but they do look cool. But so I think like that nylon, it is actually, you can get like ballistic grade nylon. That's probably one of the most lightweight and durable things that you can buy, but it's not very pretty. Like nobody would look at it and be like, man, I love the way that nylon looks. It's like, it's great for camo and like, going through the jungle or whatever, but it's definitely not beautiful. And so that was part of what I wanted to make. I wanted to make something that was good looking and clean and simple and minimalistic in design. And I think the material, just that material is clean. It has like a nice smooth feel and look, and it's pretty good at just naturally being water resistant. And so, yeah, it just kind of fit like the aesthetic that I was going for. And it's super lightweight. Like you said, I mean, now we're using 100% recycled PE. So it's polyethylene, which is a oil-based product. Almost everything's oil-based, as you know. The nylon's even oil-based. But so we're using recycled plastic. Right now we're using recycled plastic water bottles. In 2024, it'll be made from this stuff called sea waste, which is like all the fishing nets that you find in the ocean. That's what our bags will be made out of. And really, at the end of the day, it's like not porous at all. Like no water's going to get through. It's super durable because it's a rugged material. And you'll see if you get the new bag, like basically now, anytime after this podcast goes live, you'll have access to the new bag, which is made from 100% recycled material, and it's super, super durable. And I think awesome. That's the thing, right? Like we want it to be super long lasting, but we don't want it to weigh 1 million pounds. We want the speaker to have a good sound, but we don't want it to be super heavy, because at the end of the day, right, we're picking this thing up. If you're walking, you're picking it up. I don't know. If you shoot 90, you've picked it up, 90-ish time.
Yeah. The other thing that it did, I will say, Sam, is it passed my wife's test, because when I pulled it out of the box, she was like, wow, that's a really nice looking golf bag. So when it passed her test, when she's used to seeing golf bags and she's like, man, I really like that bag, that also is a feather in the cap too. So I will say that. So
it's cool. The design, like I think like that's one of the cool things about just making a bag functional and simple. And I think a lot of times just a good functional product looks good.
Yep.
And so I didn't spend a whole lot of time like thinking about like how everything should be. It was just like, it needs to have this, and this. Let's make it out of this material because it's clean and smooth. And then it just happened to also look really good, which is pretty awesome.
Well, and that's the cool part, is that you've put together this bag that's, you put in the pieces that you want, that we want in a bag. I think it's an amazing product. I need to get one of these bags. But the other reason I need to get one of these bags is we're big on customization here. We love customization. And the things that you also can get added to this bag are very unique, like the solar panel, having the battery on there, having the speaker on the bag, so I don't have to bring my own speaker. It's already on my bag. But the one thing that I think is unbelievable is the hand-painted like artwork.
Yeah.
Like, and the customization. That's awesome.
I'll walk you back to the custom art department right now, because I think Shelly's back there working on a bag. But yeah, it's so cool. We that was
no one
lucky
else does
too.
that.
No, and I think like, there's a lot of reason why it's a lot of coordination, it's a lot of work, but it is. So what happened is we all know that here's a bag right here that's hand painted, and it's in process. And then Shelly's here working on this bag. This is Shelly.
Hi, Shelly.
Hey, Shelly.
They said hello. Here's a bag that she's working on. And so like behind me, we've got like all of this paint that is, and I'll get into what I was going to say a second ago about like how this whole thing came about. It's the problem is this all starts with a problem. Our bags don't have zippers on them. And that was like, we solved the problem that zippers break, but then it created a problem. We don't have pockets that can be zipped off. So like the normal golf bag, you can just zip a pocket off and you can embroider it. And so since we couldn't take the pocket off and embroider it, we had to find a way to customize it. And I knew this was going to be a problem and kind of just like pretended it didn't exist until one day I like looked for solutions on the side. But one day a guy walked by my old shop, and he was like, "Hey, do you need a sign painted on your building?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. I've been thinking about doing that." He gave me a quote. 2 days later, he's up there on this ladder painting the sign on the front of my building. And I was just like, whoa, I wonder if he could paint on a golf bag. So I get, like what, I have no idea if this is going to happen at all or whatever. So I give him a couple of sample material things, and he comes back 2 days later with my logo, my Sam Goulden Golf for my coaching brand, my logo, and then David Adele and I we were doing a collab, and the Adele logo was painted on there as well. And it was just so beautiful, man. It was so perfect, and the lines were like so clean. And I was just like, this is it. We can do this. We can paint on golf bags. And it's not as inexpensive as some other ways to customize, but it's definitely the most unique. And
yeah.
I mean, it's also cool because you're kind of limited on those other bags. You're limited to the panel that you can take off that can go to embroidery, right? Versus like on this bag, again, like I'm not taking credit for this. It's just lucky that this bag is just sitting there and you can paint anywhere on it. Like these artists are insanely talented. They go to like these schools for sign painting. They're all certified. They all have like basically a degree in sign painting. And that's the skill that you need to be able to paint those perfect lines and do all this custom artwork. And yeah, it's funny, when we first launched that like ability, people were like, "Oh, I'll just put my name on it," and I would be like, "You can do anything." You can, but we don't like. I'm not creative. They'd be like,
"Think bigger."
I'd be like, I don't know. Like, I honestly, I don't know either. I'm not that creative when it comes to this stuff. But then like over time, some people would come through and just be like, "Dude, let's put this on it, and then I want to put my kid's birthday on it, and then I'm going to put my business on it." And it's like all of a sudden, bags are becoming art pieces too. They're utility things that you carry your clubs in, but then they're also an expression for that person who has it, which I think is really cool. Because at the end of the day, once we sell the bag, it's yours. Once you buy it, it's your thing. And so if you can identify with it better, and if you can make it more about you, that's a cool thing. I think it's cool in surfboards when you can, they hand sign your name on the bottom of the surfboard when you order it. And yeah, I think it's a cool thing.
That's what I was going to say. It's kind of like what we talked about at the beginning. You have skateboards and surfboards there, and that's a big thing in those industries, that you have those customized, and they're kind of a unique piece of art, and you're bringing that to the golf game, which is unbelievable, because like you have head covers and things like that you can do that with, but now you're taking it to that next level, having that custom art on there. And like you said, you caused a problem, but actually improved upon something in the result, which is unbelievable.
This is the cycle of this stuff, dude. It's so crazy. You're like, "Oh, I'm gonna solve this problem. I'm a genius," and then it comes back, and you're like, "Oh shit!" Like now we have this other huge It's like never ending, but it's a cycle up, right? It's like it never like this first problem, you fix it, you create another one, you create another one, you create another one, and eventually you've made a really cool thing. Or I don't know, we're getting there, man. I still feel like we've got another long way to go to make the best bag ever made. But I think right now it's not even about making like the most like cooler, the most best bag for the modern golfer. It's about making a bag that, and like, you know, our motto is minimal golf for the player, for the planet. So we want to make a golf bag that a player, that somebody who plays every single day and knows golf and has been inside and outside the game will appreciate. It doesn't mean you have to be a player to use our bag. It just means that whatever level you're at, if you're at the pro level or at the beginner level, you're going to appreciate the stuff we have in the bag. So for the player, that's what that's for. But then for the planet, that minimal golf for the player, for the planet. The for the planet side of it is just realizing that my fault, my company, this company, we're creating a product that's going to last hundreds of years because it's made of a bunch of oil-based products. They're going to last forever. And if we can find a way to make that product that's going to last a couple hundred years, if we can keep it in use for that long, then it's kind of like, that's a fair deal, right? Like if I can buy something that's going to last 200 years, I'd like for it to still be useful in 200 years rather than filling up my great grandkids' landfills, you know? And so, like I said, I think we still got a little ways to go to make a golf bag that can last 200 years, but we're getting closer, and that's kind of the mission there. And that kind of brings us along to like the Trade It Forward program, which is, you know, if I make a bag that if you buy a bag that's going to last 200 years, inevitably you're going to get sick of it before you die. Like it's going to run that cool stuff that you did, that customization or that black, and now you want white. You know, it's like you might get bored of it before it actually wears out. And that's why we offer the Trade It Forward program, which basically it's just our way of allowing you to donate your old bag, the bag you were previously using, to a junior in need. So right now, if you go on the website and you're like, I want to buy a minimal golf bag, you can buy a minimal bag, or you can buy a bag that's Trade It Forward. And Trade It Forward allows us, or we send you a shipping label, and that shipping label is going to send whatever bag you put in the box, hopefully a bag that's useful to a junior. We'll send that bag to a player in Southern California.
So Dave, don't send any of yours. Okay.
I was waiting for you to say that. Don't send Dave's old bag.
It's not a dumpster. You know, we don't have a dumpster here. And we get, you know, I'd say like 80% of them are really good bags that juniors are happy to get. So that program's been really cool.
No, awesome. So let me ask you, I caddy every year at the Hilton Grand Vacations Tournament of Champions. And a couple years ago, I was out there and I'm standing on the driving range. Josh Donaldson walks up, Yankees third baseman. And he's got your bag. And I was like, oh, I know that bag. I know that bag real well. There's a minimal bag. And Damon Green, who used to caddy for Ryder Cup captain Zach Johnson, Damon caddies for Zach out there. And the question I have for you is, do you think when you started this and all of a sudden you've got guys like Josh Donaldson and some of these other guys that are carrying your golf bags now, do you ever think it would get to this point? And what strives you guys to keep getting better and better so that these guys keep carrying your golf bag?
To answer the first part, in the very beginning, no. In the very beginning, I didn't think we would make a bag that was gonna be suitable for like tour use, like really good player use. Mm-hmm. I was like, man, like who cares about like all the old traditional stuff in golf? Like that's dying. It's cool now. It's fun. It's just casual. And then I think like as a little bit of time went on, I started to remember why I love golf and like what I love about the traditional side of golf. And I stopped knocking those very serious. I think I was going through an identity crisis, to be honest. Like, I was like, I'm not a golfer anymore. I don't play golf like that anymore. I'm casual. I'm out there in a t-shirt and tennis shoes, which is true still. But, you know, I think I kind of pushed against the country club and the professional kind of game because of my own experience. But maybe a year and a half into it, really just looking for myself, like what I would be proud of. and like what I really wanted to accomplish. And it kind of hit me. I was on a podcast, and this guy, a friend of mine, actually was like, so what do you want to do with this? And I was like, you know what, right now, I just want to make the best golf bag that's ever been made. Like, that's what I want to do. And so when I had that sort of shift, it took me away from like pushing against the country clubs and pushing against this old thing that I used to be and trying to be something that I'm becoming now. And it was like, no, just focus on making the best golf bag you can possibly make. And when I think of it that way, absolutely. I think if I keep focusing on that, and if our team, like, we've got this team that's developing here is amazing. And like, if they keep staying invested and on board, we can make really, really cool stuff. Like there's a bag back there that you didn't see Shelly painting. When's this going to go live? Is this live right now? Are we live?
We're live right now.
You're live right now.
Then I can't tell you who this bag is for because his birthday's coming up, but he's a tour player and he's a very prominent one. And he plays on 2 tours, one of them a very newsworthy one lately. And he's very well known, and he's getting this bag and he's getting it customized. And so it's happening now. Like, I think because of the customization and because of the quality of the bag, not because at some point I thought we needed to reinvent the word golf and what it meant, but more because we're doing a really good job with the golf bag. And when I say we, I mean like the factory's doing a really, really good job. And everybody else involved, even like, you know, down to the shipping person. Literally the shipping person is like the most important person in this company. I realized recently that person, he or she is the last person who touches your golf bag before you get it. And I like, you know, like 3 months ago, I just had this realization. I was like, oh my God, Jackson's the most important person at Minimal Golf. And he's this 16-year-old kid. And like, he's responsible for every single golf bag that ships out. And it's like, we need to take that really, really seriously. And so, yeah, I mean, I know I'm going a long way to answer this question, but I think as we keep realizing what's important and as we keep trying to do our best, I'm certain that more and more really good golfers are going to find out about us and see us. And yeah, when they do, I think they're going to find a really good product, and it's going to continue to get better.
I'm going to ask this question. I know the answer to it, but did I happen to see this in the past week, a staff bag that you guys made a one of on social media?
Yeah, that's such a cool bag. Like, I'm telling, that was one of the coolest things. So Lydia Ko was a year ago, she was without a bag sponsor. Lydia Ko, right? Like,
yeah.
Lydia effing Co.
Right.
For me, like, I'm like, what? So we made a bag for Annie Park, who's a really, really sweet, cool, great golfer, professional golfer. And then I think she and Lydia are good friends. I can't remember how it all went together, but then Lydia reached out and was like, hey, I don't have a bag sponsor. Could you make a tour bag? And I was like, absolutely, Lydia effing Co. Like, yeah, like, we don't do it, but we're gonna. And so, yeah, I reached out to the factory. They were awesome. They were like, yes, we'll do it. One of one. We'll just make it. So we went in like all these conversations. We made a bag for Lydia, and then she got a bag sponsor. And so this bag is literally like it's flying across the ocean from Indonesia. And I get an email that's like, oh, Sam, I got a new bag sponsor. They might still be able to work with you. And it turns out that they weren't. So we had this beautiful tour bag. And then, like, Danny List, this really, really kind, generous human who's a phenomenal golfer as well, was like, hey, man, I need a tour bag. Like, I love my bag. He had a custom minimal bag that was pretty sick. And he was like, I need a tour bag. And I was like, we have a tour bag. we have a tour bag. So we hand painted that one with all of his sponsors. And Danny's a great man. If you're not following Danny List, he's doing so much good stuff for, like, he's got a foundation that helps kids from his home nation. And like, yeah, there's a lot of really cool people in golf, but Danny's definitely one of them.
Awesome.
That's really cool. So, I mean, you've talked about like the bags and things like that. What other products do you offer?
Well, I like I said before, my like main focus, and I don't ask me why I became such a passionate golf bag junkie, but I am now. My main focus is like make the bag the best it possibly can be. But recently I've been just like looking through the space and seeing that there's a few things that we can do that nobody else is doing, and I feel like should be, or just like no brainers, like towels. Everybody buys a golf towel, right? That's made from oil. It's a petroleum based product. Well, you can make that out of recycled plastic too. So we make a golf towel. I spent a lot of time on it, actually, like getting the dimensions exactly where I wanted them and adding all the right features. I'm really proud of the towel, but it is just at the end of the day a towel. But it's made from 100% recycled plastic. So 20 something water bottles got pulled from some bin instead of going into a landfill. So we make towels. We're working on bamboo socks, which if you've never owned a pair of bamboo socks, you should grab some because they're amazing. Yeah. They're naturally moisture wicking. They're super soft and they last forever. So we've got socks coming out, and that's where we're at right now. I tried to make hats at one point, but it was hard to find recycled materials that looked and felt good. And I guess the answer is, as long as there's a product that's not already being done well by someone else that can be done in a more responsible way, we're going to try to do it. And right now, that's golf bags, towels, and socks. Golf socks.
Hey, keep the obsession with golf bags, because I have tons of them, and I love golf bags, and I love what you've had with this product, because you've done what I like in a golf bag. You've taken everything that I like in each individual golf bag and kind of put it into one, and also made it so that it's lightweight, easy to carry, and it's not like I'm lugging around a giant staff bag. I'm not lugging around something that's too small and doesn't have enough space in it. So keep up that obsession, because you're doing great for the environment and for the sport.
Yeah, we need freaks in every industry, right? I honestly, you would have told me like 7 years ago that I was going to be obsessing about the size of the filming pocket, like that the phone slips in so you can record your swing. I'm literally like, oh, should it be that size, or should it be like 2 millimeters bigger? Yeah, it's ridiculous, but I'm actually super happy to have an obsession, because as a competitive athlete, if you consider golfers athletes, and I consider myself, I used to be one. As a competitive athlete, there's so much every single day that like you're just forced to do, like forced to go to the gym, forced to eat healthy, or at least I was, forced to like show up and compete and practice. And every time all of your preparation it showed up on the field. And so like that drove me for, I think, like realistically 9 years straight. I had a goal every day when I woke up in the morning, and it was years away. So it was just like chip away at that block of ice until eventually you break through. And it was so beautiful to have that every day. And I didn't realize that when I stopped doing it, I was going to miss it so much. So I'm super grateful now to be passionate about something, even if it is things to carry your golf clubs in.
Well, speaking as a guy that needs something to carry his golf clubs in, I can appreciate all that hard work and
yeah, it's so and everything absurd, like sometimes when I think about it.
Well, we all have passions in life, and yours just happens to be golf bags. And there's a lot weirder passions that are out there that that exist for people. So like I said, my bag I just broke the stand inserts on the inside of my bag a couple weeks ago. It still functions, but I walk my 9-hole course, and so it's not the easiest thing right now. And hopefully I can get something fixed and working down the road. But so as I'm looking for a new bag, if someone's looking for a new bag or for your Trade It Forward program, where can they find you?
The best place if you're ready to buy is, and if you want like a little bit more information, is minimalgolf.com. Just minimal golf spelled out, minimalgolf.com. Or if you want to see a little bit more like behind the brand and get to know like our shop and everybody involved, I think we do a decent job of that Campbell does a really good job of that on Instagram. Yeah. Get to know Campbell, because like this kid's gonna change the world. He's awesome. He's running Instagram and email communications and TikTok and basically everything else. So, but yeah, Instagram is a good place to learn more about the brand, and the website's a good place to learn more about the product.
Awesome. Well, Sam, thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. I know it's a little earlier. I'm kind of jealous of all that sunlight you've got out there still. I mean, it's pitch black out here, and we're sitting here waiting on a storm. So I appreciate you joining us tonight and taking time, showing us around the shop. And we look forward. Hey, I'm going to ask, I know when I first met your brand, it was at the PGA Merchandise Show, I believe was that 2020 when you guys were?
20. Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, 2020. Will you be back this year for the PGA Show or no?
At the moment, we're still not. So this is the final thing I've got to put in there because it's pretty inherent. Like the brand itself is kind of built around this model. We don't have a wholesale play. Like our bag, our bag costs like double to make what a normal golf bag does for all the reasons you see if you look at it, and all the tech and everything. So to keep it at a reasonable price or an accessible price, I've decided not to build in like a wholesale markup. So we can't really afford to be in wholesale. And so for that reason, we're direct to consumer. And so it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to spend the money to go be in front of all of those buyers at the PGA show. As much as I love it, I keep not justifying the few grand that it would cost to go down there and spend that time. It's not to say we'll never go, but right now, in trying to keep the price as low as possible and not having a wholesale play, the PGA show just isn't like the best place for us.
Hey, let me ask this. I had a buddy of mine reach out online and shoot me a quick question before we let you go. If there's like a high school or a college team looking for like a team bag, do you guys do that? And would they also reach out on minimalgolf.com or where would they go for that?
Yeah, actually just email Campbell at Minimal Golf. Just go straight to the store.
Go straight to Campbell. Okay. All right. All right. That sounds good.
I mean, and that's another one of the things recently that I realized, like if we're going to make a great golf bag, it needs to hold up under high school golf and college golf, competitive golfer standards. So yeah, we'd love to get some bags in on the college field and high school teams. And so, yeah, we'd love to hear from them.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. I will let them know. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. You have a great evening and enjoy that Southern California weather, and appreciate you joining us.
Yeah.
Thanks,
yeah,
Sam.
likewise.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Good meeting you all.
See ya.
Cheers.
Bye. Yeah, that bag's unbelievable.
I'm just going to put this out there because this did happen, and I'm glad someone called it out on the comments.
Yeah.
Like there's 50 comments of just drink of everything that you brought up in there. I mean, it's no surprise we prepare questions in advance for this. Steve had a question prepared that I was like, people are going to get drunk off this question. The Golfing Dad's Tavern drinking game. Play it at home.
Yes. Hey, at
Email
some point
your
we need to have
questions
Brad
to
back.
Drinking Game President Bradley Schubert.
Yeah, at some point we need to have Brad back on
Play
just to
responsibly.
go over the rules. Just to go over the rules for the drinking game.
But
All right, it's time for the smack of the week.
Yes, it is. It's our favorite.
God, that intro. All right.
People asked for it on Instagram this week. I had to play it twice.
Yeah,
I know.
Best intro in the game right there.
We can thank Rob Tincher for that. Damn you, Rob.
Yeah.
Sports Center is asking me to use it for the top 10. They want me to make a top 10 version of it.
Yeah. All right, here's the smack of the week.
Playing a game of whack fuck here.
Whack.
Man, that popped up, and I was like, "Man, that is the smack of the. That is like that might be the poster child for smack of the week right there." Like,
I don't know. Last week was a close one for it as well. So I mean, yeah, that one is on his own at least. He did that to himself.
Yeah, he did that to himself. Yeah.
Oh,
all right. It's time for last call.
All right. Last call today is it's going to be some big announcements coming up. We got 6 players
tomorrow
for the Ryder
tomorrow.
Cup.
And
so here's what we did, folks.
Hold on. Shameless plug before this starts. With the 6 picks tomorrow, just as an FYI, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, the Golfing Dads Tavern will be doing a after party to analyze the captain's picks for the Ryder Cup team. We'll just put that up.
But tonight we're gonna make our 6 picks each, and go with it. So, who wants to go?
Let's go over the 6. Let's go over the 6 players that are currently that are on the team, and then we'll go from there. So the 6 players on the team right now are Scotty Scheffler.
Yep.
Wyndham Clark.
Yep.
Brian Harmon, Patrick Cantlay, Max Homa, and Xander Schauffele. And now Zach tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock makes 6 captain's picks.
Yep.
But we're gonna make our 6 captain's picks tonight.
Correct.
So Zach Johnson, listen up. We're to give the people what they want.
So Dave, I'll let you go first.
Really?
Let's let Dave go first on this one.
Hold on. Hey.
Oh, you missed the Smack of the Week intro. Well, Duff,
Yeah.
for you.
Oh, Duff. Rob, I like you. Why do I like you, Rob?
Rob, I hear you're going to be driving through Indiana soon, so I'm just saying. Hopefully I'll see you guys. But, Dave, we're going to do this in draft order, so take your first, who you would pick as your first pick to your 6th pick, and a little bit on why you're picking them. So, you got the floor, Dave.
My first pick is going to be Brooks.
Okay.
I'm gonna because he's not in on points because he's not getting any, but he should be.
No, he just had a baby. He's definitely getting some. Sorry, that one was teed up. I mean, really.
We've all seen Full Swing too, so I'm just saying. All right, so Brooks is your first pick. Who's your second pick?
Yeah. But look, if you're looking to
Oh, we got a drink. Dave froze.
Oh god.
Dave froze. We got a drink.
did I freeze or did you freeze?
No, you
froze.
But look, if
you froze.
Okay, if you're going to start to look to bridge the gap here, look, this isn't about PGA and everything. This is about winning for your country. And I think Brooks is the obvious first pick here. Coming into this, I'm going to take Jordan number 2. He hasn't been on, but he's playing well enough right now. He's my 2. 3 and 4 kind of go together right now. I'm taking Morikawa and Keegan Bradley as 3 and 4. Morikawa has really, most top 10s this year, played well the last couple of weeks, played really well in the Tour Championship. Keegan's played, he had a great round at the Travelers. He's played really well, great round at the Tour Championship. 5 is going to be Ricky, because one of us has to will Ricky into this.
Hey, Brad, Dave.
I'm just showing up. It's not Rory. He always picks Ricky, so we know. I mean,
Yes.
You can't pick Rory. It's Rory's.
I can't pick Rory. Yeah, wrong country. Ricky's going to be number 5. He's played very consistent middle of the pack golf the last couple weeks, and I think you need consistency. He's not going to miss as many short putts as Scotty Scheffler, but he's still going to miss his fair share. But
wow.
I think Ricky right now, just from consistency off the tee and off the fairway, he's going to be really good. And then my 6th pick, I really struggled with this one here. I went back and forth between 2 different picks. I was going to jump all the way down to Tony Finau, but I thought better of it as I really thought about this, and I'm going to go Lucas Glover as my 6th pick. Even though he hurt me with a miscut a couple weeks ago, he's gotten hot at the right time, and you need the hot golfers at the right time coming into the Ryder Cup. So. Yeah,
so,
Brooks.
Dave,
Yeah, Brooks, Jordan.
I'm going to jump off of yours here, Dave.
Yeah.
Because, Dave, we have the exact same picks in a
Minus
different
one.
order. No,
Okay.
not minus one. We have the exact same 6 people. So that's why I'm going to jump off here, because my number 1 pick is your number 6 pick. I'm taking Lucas Glover first because I think he's the hot hand right now for the U.S. Hovland's obviously the hot hand, but I think Lucas Glover's the hot hand. So I'm going to jump off where you were there with my picks. Since June 29th, he's done amazing. He's in the last 8 events he played in. He's had 2 wins, 4 top 10s, 1 top 25, and only 1 missed cut.
The week that I took him.
Exactly. So, that's an unbelievable pace of play. For the first 20, the last 20 events he had before that, he missed 10 of those cuts. He missed a putt to make the U.S. Open as a former U.S. Open champion this year, and then has turned it around and is the hot hand. He's ranked 30th now in the official World Golf rankings. So he's my number 1 pick. I'm putting him in because he's the hot hand right now.
Yep.
Number 2 is Jordan. Jordan has been Mr. Consistent, I think. He hasn't won anything, but he's played consistency. He's been in the hunt for stuff. He was 2nd at Harbour Town. He's 12th in the official World Golf rankings. He was, I think, 6th or 7th, or 7th or 8th in this. So he just missed being an automatic qualifier in the top 6. So 8. So yeah. So just outside of it, Koepka, I think, was 7th, and I think he was
Koepka's 7th.
So
and Koepka missed it by 29,000 points.
Yeah. But I mean, the points, it's like, whose line is it anyway? Do the points really matter? It's just, I feel the rankings and stuff are interesting. My 3rd pick is Koepka. So I pick Koepka 3rd. I do think Koepka deserves to be on here. One of the major winners this year, runner up in the first major, won the PGA. He's won on the Live Tour. He's proved that he's winning on both. So I think he's the right pick. From there, then I go Ricky next because Ricky has been Mr. Consistent. He has not missed a cut since 5/18. Ricky has been playing unbelievable.
Which I think I took him on that one too.
You probably did. So you got to stop picking these people. He has the Ryder Cup experience too. So that's where I have him. And then my last 2 are Keegan Bradley and Colin Morikawa. I think Colin really played himself in these last few, and that's really where I put him in there. He has that consistency as well. He has 7 top 10 finishes this year. World Golf ranking 20th. He was 12th or 13th. So he was just on the cusp of, if you just went straight down, of being in anyway.
He was 10.
So 10. Okay. So yeah, but he was in if you just went down that way. And I think, and I think Keegan has played himself back in this year. He's had a great year. And that's where I'm looking at this. You're taking these hot hands. So I find it interesting that we went with the same 6 people. We picked them in a different order, but it's the same 6 people. Yeah. So Steve,
I kind of just went down. Yeah. And I think Keegan now, Keegan kind of sold me in his interview over the weekend where he goes, look, I'm one of the old guys now. Yeah. Where guys are coming to me for advice. And he goes, early in my career, I was kind of standoffish and all about that. He goes, I wish I could take that all back. And I think he's really adapted into that. And I think the Ryder Cup needs some of that old guard.
They need these people that have the will to win, want to be a team player. They want to go out there and do that. I think there's some players that we've left off here, and I'll talk about the people that you and I left off. Yep. I don't know if they're on Steve's list yet.
There's one, and he's left off on mine, and we'll talk that in a minute. There's
a few that I think are left off, and you said Finau, Dave, and I think Finau started off really hot in the season, but just fell off at the end of the season. So that's why I left him off my list, because I love Tony Finau. I think he's great, but I just think he's not playing well right now, and I don't want that going into the Ryder Cup.
All right, so I'm gonna go. My first pick's gonna be Colin Morikawa.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like he's locked in anyway. The way he's played at the Tour Championship, we want a hot player coming off of that. 2, 3, and 4, I think, are a package deal for me. And this is where we're going to get different. 2 of these are the same.
It's Jordan, JT, and Sam Burns.
No, it is not.
No,
it's Jordan. It's
Jordan,
JT, and Ricky.
Yeah, I knew where you were going with that.
Ricky's putter. You can put Ricky with anybody in an alternate shot, and the dude can play with anybody because of his putter. And the other thing that I think when you look at Jordan and JT, they're real hard to beat. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah,
JT went 5-0 in the last one, and I just think that I'm going to say this, much like Payne Stewart when he showed up to the Ryder Cup, where it didn't matter how he was playing when he played for his country. I feel like JT is going to be that way, and I feel like he is just going to show up and show out and just take care of business. My last 2, and there's one reason. So number 5 for me is going to be Lucas, although I'm going to be honest with you. There's a name that we haven't mentioned that I think is going to be on this team, and I think Lucas is going to be on the outside looking in, is my personal opinion. And the reason why I think he needs to be there is 1, his putter, and 2, the dude drives it dead straight, doesn't miss a lot of fairways, and hits a lot of great iron shots. And they're going to set this golf course up in Italy like they set it up in France when we were there, and got hammered in France, where they had narrow fairways and long rough. And we need people that can roll the rock and keep the ball in play. So I really feel like Lucas Glover needs to be there just based on golf course setup. I'm going to be honest with you. As we've all picked him, I think we're all rooting for him. We've picked him a lot this year. I don't think he's going to make the team, and I will say that tonight. And we'll go into the names that we've left on the outside looking in. And then my final pick is also Brooks Koepka.
Eric, these are already in, so that's why.
Yeah.
They're
already there. And Brooks, I think if Brooks had played one more event on the PGA Tour, he would have been – Xander would have been the odd man out, and Brooks would have been in. And I feel like with that being the case, do I think that Brooks deserves a shot to be there? I do. And I think that he will – the concern that I have with Brooks is you obviously will not put him in the same pot as Patrick Cantley unless you want to see a fist fight amongst the American team on the golf course. But I think that that is my one.
He can mend fences with DeChambeau. He can mend fences with Cantley.
Correct.
I know, but it may take some time.
Yeah.
Wow, Dave went there.
A flight over.
Yeah. They're next to they're sitting next to each other. The other concern that I will say that I have with Brooks is of late, the baby was born 6 weeks premature, and he hasn't been in good form as of late, which does scare me. But obviously, if you know you've got 3 weeks to get ready, these guys are professional athletes and they know what to do. So one name that none of us had, and I'll be honest with you, Keegan to me also should probably be there. I think Keegan is the odd man out. Also, is that I just feel like he is. I think your comment about him being his attitude early on in his career, I think is going to come back to bite him in the butt because I don't think anybody wants to play with him.
That's his attitude, especially if you've seen like a lot of the videos where he's gotten in with the most interesting golfer on the planet.
Yes.
The
match play video in Austin.
Yeah, yes. I think, but I do think that he has the right attitude now, and you have to look at who's playing well right now. And like I looked at when you said Justin Thomas, so the reason I left Justin off my list because I agree with everything you said. I do agree when you put him with Jordan, they play well together. But Justin has missed 5 out of his last 8 cuts, and that's not like him. Like to play that bad. So when you're not playing that well right now, he's one of the best golfers in the world. But when he's not playing that well right now, to be honest, that's where I struggled on not putting him in, because I do think the factor of playing with one of your best friends and being paired with each of them in there makes a difference. It would probably make him play better. So that's where I think the risk is kind of worth the reward to put him in there. But just with how bad he's played over the last few months, I went through and I took from June 1st, the Memorial. I took from the Memorial to the end of the Tour Championship, and I took the average, like we did for our picks. I took the average placement of everybody, and he was at an average placement of 57, and that's when, if you missed a cut, I put you at 75, because the highest made cut was 74 that was on this list. So 75 was the highest missed on average. So with that, like people like Cameron Young, Tony Finau, Justin Thomas, and even Thigala, who was one person I was considering because he had a amazing start to the year and just fell off. Him and Finau both started hot and ended really, really cold.
Yes.
Yeah. Thigala comes in at 23, not too far behind Tony.
No.
Like I thought about Thigala too.
I don't think either of them are even. I don't think either of them are considered. I don't.
No, I don't. And here's the thing: Thigala started the first 18 events before that he played before the Memorial. His average placement was 29.6.
Right.
After 47. Like,
yeah,
that's a bad turnaround right there.
I'm gonna put Eric's name up here. You mentioned it. Cam Young. Here's my reason for keeping him off my team. You can't pair him with anybody in alternate shot because he's 150th in strokes gained putting. He's losing a quarter of a shot to the field in putting. We don't need we already have one bad putter on this team in Scotty Scheffler. Like, I don't know that I could watch two of them, and I don't think he gives us the best chance to win. I really don't, based on the fact that he can't make a putt. Like, honestly, if you're losing a quarter of a stroke to the field, like, I have a hard time when you go back to Brookline in '99 when we came back and won. The one tip that Crenshaw gave everybody Sunday morning was about hitting putts solid and going out there and hitting good quality putts. I don't know that. I mean, Scotty Scheffler scares me with whatever putter he's got with him, and he'll probably have full. And imagine what the European crowd and if it's match play and you are a European player and you're playing against Scotty Scheffler, are you giving him any putt?
No,
I'm not even giving Scotty a foot.
It's happening. I know.
So we've already got one bad putter on the team in Scotty. I don't know that I could trust Cam Young to make another putt, especially if it came down to it and we needed it. Like, I just don't see it happening. So for me, I just don't see where taking another bad putter and putting another bad putter on the team makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's where I left him out. And to me, honestly, I actually put Sam Burns above him. I almost put Sam Burns in this because I think he's played well. But I don't. But they came down to the same thing with Cam Young. I don't know who I would pair him with. I don't know where he fits in.
You know who you pair Sam Burns with? You pair him with his best friend Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah, that was the only thing.
That's who you pair him with.
Yeah. But that was my reasoning for kind of taking him, is he's been a great player, and you can pair him with Scotty that might help Scotty. Like, that's the thing, is if you can help Scotty, that's going to be a big factor.
So there's two other names that didn't get mentioned. The only other
guy that we skipped, is Denny McCarthy. Ahead, we skipped over Denny.
Yeah, that's Denny wasn't in the consideration. We know that.
No,
like, let's be real. No, I'm going to say there's two other names that I'm going to throw out there that were not mentioned. They're not in the
John Daly.
Points list. No, not that one. He's not in the Radicals points list either.
Kitayama,
Justin Johnson.
Well, DJ, yeah. I mean, I didn't have him on the list, but I was going to say P. Reed, Mr. Captain America.
That was
and Bryson.
So here's my take on all three of those. So Dustin Johnson, we saw in the U.S. Open.
Well, yes. I mean,
we saw he was just. I don't think he has the fire that's there. I don't think he's going to be that. Like, I don't think he's going to make an impact like some of these can make on each other there. Patrick Reed has played well when he played over in the majors. Like,
who do you pair him with?
Patrick Reed?
Yeah. He doesn't want to play with Jordan anymore after he got in a fight with Jordan after Jordan wanted to play with JT. Like, who are you going to pair Patrick Reed with in team competition?
Well, that's the problem. You talked about
ball.
Keegan Bradley's attitude early on in his career that could hurt him. I think that hurts Patrick Reed here because you need to make this is a team event. And the thing that the European team has had, that the U.S. team has lacked in years, that especially that we've lost, is that camaraderie and that unity and that national pride. Like, there are a bunch of different countries and they have a European pride. We're one country and we don't have it as well as they do.
Correct. And we haven't won in 30 years on European soil.
Yeah, that's also true.
Like, and we already know how they're going to set the golf course up. The rough's going to be up, and it's going to be narrow fairways and fast greens. And
no, we don't. Same thing. I think that's good.
We don't need Pete Rose there. Okay. Sorry, too soon on that, or no?
Phil technically has more points than DJ and Patrick Reed.
So here's what I'm going to say with the Phil comment, because I was thinking about this, especially with Justin Thomas. I feel Justin Thomas, in the way he's playing right now, was kind of like when they put Phil on a few years ago when he wasn't playing that well, but when he got onto the Ryder Cup, did pretty decent.
Do you remember there was a year that Sergio was a captain's pick and had no business being a captain's pick and played great? And then if you go back, and something that kind of resurrected Adam Scott's career. Adam Scott had no business being on a President's Cup team a few years ago. Like, he was a terrible player, and Greg Norman picked him, and it kickstarted and kind of rejuvenated his entire career over. So,
and that's why I think Justin Thomas is a decent pick over the rest of what we've talked about.
Right.
Like, that's where you're putting out. That's where you're not putting in a DJ, a Bryson, a Patrick Reed. The reason you're not putting them in is not because they're on the Live Tour. I don't think that's the reason you're not putting them in. I think because of what you have on the PGA Tour and what you have just in the world golf rankings, from that team aspect, you have better choices.
Right. No, you're right. That's fair. I'm done with that. Okay. Well, we'll wait till 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. I'm sure there'll be a text in the text group. I'm sure we'll have some text messages going back and forth. So, but yeah, no. All right, cool.
I think it's great. Let's talk about this. Is the Tour Championship. That was the season right there.
Right.
Yep.
It's over. And I wanted to say, like, the PGA Tour season, the best part of any sport is creating a moment, creating those magical memories, like one shining moment in the tournament.
Did you just go Disney? I mean, you just
I went one shining moment. I went
no, you went you said magic. You said magical. I said,
memories. But it's creating that. Yeah, it is. So it is. But it's US is running the bus. But it's creating that, and there was this cloud at the beginning of this season coming over from last season of the Live versus PGA that kept over the season, but of the play of the golf tournaments we had this year, this was an unbelievable year that cloud did not take over any of those events. Like,
here's my thing. We've talked about this multiple times on the show. Everybody was up in arms about the non-designated or the non-elevated events on the tour this year, and were you going to get people to show up? Canada was in a terrible spot in the timeline. Like, Rory showed up because he was defending champion, and I think that was the only reason he showed up. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Canada might be the best tournament of the year when you look at it, including the Terry Tate linebacker takedown. Terry Tate Adams linebacker takedown at the end of that. Canada was unbelievable, and it wasn't an elevated. Like when you look at all the events that weren't elevated, and there were a lot of great elevated events. Don't get us wrong. Like, I'm not trying to argue that there weren't great elevated events. There were like every week on the PGA Tour was another story. Whether it was Ricky winning in Detroit, whether it was Lucas Glover coming out of the depths of nowhere, and all of a sudden, he was playing decent golf, and then he put, we'll call Bill. He called Bill Press and got a lap putter, and said, "Yeah, let me figure out how to roll this thing," and decided he wanted to make every putt he looked at. And again, dude stripes it, and like all you have to do is find a putter, and like it's like magic in a bottle there.
Look at the storylines from this year. Like, you start at the Masters, you had Rahm winning the Masters, which was an unbelievable on the anniversary of Seve, and you had Koepka winning in the PGA, which was a great event. You had that live player kind of winning there.
Well, and it was the one live player that nobody cared about if they won.
Exactly.
Like, okay, cool. Yeah, he won. Great.
Yeah. It was like,
yeah,
you had
great.
the excitement at the US Open where Ricky was playing amazing. The jailbreak putter from the jailbird putter
Odyssey.
from Odyssey became like the putter of the year at that point.
Yep.
And it was a putter from what, 6 years ago?
Yeah, that you then couldn't touch for under what, $1,500 online at that point.
Exactly. And then you hit
aftermarket?
the British Open was good.
Brian Harmon running away with it.
Brian Harmon ran away with it.
Like, that was an exciting event. Then, like you just said, the Canadian Open, which, can we just bring back the ice hockey boards?
Right.
As the, like, if we didn't even mention that was there. And making that, what, 300-foot putt to just
the longest,
basically
his longest putt he ever made in his career.
It was the equivalent of a walk-off home run.
Right.
Let's be honest.
Game over, drive home safely.
You talked about Ricky at the Rocket, but you had Keegan at the Travelers. The next week was Ricky. The following week was Sepp at John Deere. Like 3 weeks in a row, you had these players that like have been known on the tour and have won before and are now winning again and are playing great golf. And then that brings me to what I think is the greatest story of the year is Lucas Glover. Like I said before, why I'm putting him on the Ryder Cup team, he missed a putt on the like 12th or the 22nd hole of the US Open qualifying. He is a former US Open. No,
it had to be on like, wasn't it like the 40th hole? It wasn't a playoff.
It was I'm saying of the 18 that they played.
Yeah,
it was the 25th. That was the longest.
It
was the longest day in golf. So it was like his 900th hole. Let's be honest, but he missed one putt that kept a former US Open champ out of the US Open. Like, and he made a comment on that, but then he goes and turns it on, like you said, gets a new putter, and went from missing cuts in half of the events he was in to now what we're saying is should be on the Ryder Cup team, wins 2 of the last 4 events out there. Like, the storylines this season.
I'm gonna say this. Here, I'm gonna throw this idea out there. Not the worst of ideas. The dude's played great on the Champions Tour, obviously. Let's take him, and Longer has to play for the European team. They have to play each other in all matches.
I like that.
Yeah.
You gotta have a Champions Tour pick on there. I like that, actually. Make it add a 13th player, and each team gets that, like, and make them kind of a playing captain.
Stricker's an assistant captain this year.
But this year has been amazing, and it's been about those moments. It's been about, like we talked about it. That was the thing over the year, and it's going to be into next year about like having the designated events or those elevated events or all of this stuff. But we thought like, oh, no one's at these events, and we talked about it like, oh, the field's not that great. The field made it awesome,
and and again, it was the next guy up mentality,
100%.
And just because it wasn't Rory, John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, didn't mean it was a bad event. The difference between 1 and 125 on the PGA Tour is so minuscule to begin with anyway. It's not like these guys are bad players. You can finish 200th on the PGA Tour. I'm going to be honest with you. You're still a damn good golfer. You're just, I mean, you could have just had a couple bad breaks out there. But, like, I feel like this year is a good stepping stone for next year. Mm-hmm. And then there's a lot of variables that happen the following year. Because then what has happened? What happens with Liv? What happens with and where does everything go with the PIF and all of that? And personally, there's still a lot of questions. I still question if the tour's negotiating in good faith is one of my personal opinions. Did they leverage just to get rid of the lawsuit and then try to get somebody else to come in and swoop in and then Liv goes their own way? I saw a report yesterday that there was a agreement signed that Greg Norman, they have 30 days to move on from Norman after this deal goes through, and that Liv has agreed to this, and Norman will not be part of the picture. I don't know. I mean, I think that there's an idea that when you look at what's going on with where do we go next year, after next year, and again, the other question that there's a lot of questions that get into it with Liv is that next year would be the third year for that first group of guys that went over there to Liv. So their money that they've had invested in them, they've got the ROI on that. So Mickelson's $200 million that he got to pay off his gambling debts. No laughter on that one. Like, no, it's the truth.
Gambling addiction is a serious problem.
You know, I think the idea that these guys, that money is no longer a variable. That contract's done with. What do you do with those guys? Like, Mickelson's been competitive in like one event, and that event, Cam Smith won by 7. So, like, again, I don't see. You know, Mickelson can't lose his spot. He's a captain of a team, but let's be real. Like, do you have, as captain of a team, like, is Mickelson adding value out there other than his?
Well,
name?
Here's what's going to happen. It's you said it right. Their contracts were for 3 years. That's why they're going to play next year with Liv.
Mm-hmm.
After that, it's going to dissolve. It's going to fall apart. And you're gonna see Mickelson either. I don't know if you're gonna put him on the Champions Tour, or, to be honest, he's just gonna play in exhibition matches. Let's be honest. That's actually what I want to see him in. I want to see him playing in the match. I want to see him playing those exhibition matches. Like, make that your retirement plan. And
so thank you for that, Eric.
But that's, I think, where this goes. And I think you take this year, and that's what I'm saying about this year. This was such a great year for golf. Also because the Golfing Dads Tavern joined in.
I mean,
it enhanced it.
Yeah.
It enhanced the PGA. So it's, I think you look at this year and say, hey, what did we do right this year? And then that's your model 2 years from now. Like, that's where you're going to. Like, and I think if you do that, the tour will grow. You can continue to grow the game. You can have a nonprofit organization and a for-profit side of it. You're going to have this Tiger and Rory that now, what's his name? The owner of the PGA Tour Superstore, Home Depot, the Atlanta Falcons.
I mean, your second home. How did you forget Arthur Blank's name?
I blanked on Arthur Blank. So it's I'm drawing a blank. What's his name? I was gonna say that too. So that, I think this game's gonna go, and I hope it's gonna go in the right direction. It can take a turn for the worse, but it's going to be the Tuesday night recap starting next week, Eric. So just FYI.
Yes.
But I think if the game continues like it is right now, keep all of this drama out of it and just play golf. You're still playing golf.
Still playing golf.
They're not playing for, you're not, like Rom said, we're not thinking about the money. We're not thinking about that. We're just playing golf. We're playing to win. We're being competitive. We're having fun. Make that what the game is about. Make that what's growing the game. And this game will continue on for as long as it can. And
I think all of us would like that. I think all of us would like to have that problem of, flying private jets and the John Rahms of the world get to do when you're traveling. And, we'd all love that problem. But, I think that to go Yoda, the future is the cloudy. The future is, I think that there's a lot of gray area as to what is going to happen. And I wish there were more answers. I think the PGA Tour players wish there were more answers. I think Liv thinks that they have the answer and that they've gone off in the right direction. Just to listen to Phil, he'll tell you. But I think that there's a way that this can really coexist going forward as the PGA Tour and an entity with PIF. I do think that it can happen. I hope that the United States government stays out of it and lets it happen.
Well, I think that Liv got their chance. They did what they're trying to do. Everyone in Liv enjoys Liv, but we talked about this, Steve, you and I talked about this last week offline, of people aren't watching it.
No,
they say they're watching it, but they're not watching it.
They're not watching
it's
it.
not entertaining. You had a great idea, but you didn't execute it well.
Well, and again, that goes back to the things we've talked about on this show. Like, are you stroke play? Are you match play? Are you team competition? Like, what
exactly.
are you? You still haven't done a great job identifying what you are. So that's a whole other.
Their worst thing that I think happened, and I'm going to blame Greg Norman for this, is instead of just saying, "Hey, we're going to create another golf league. You have your league. We're going to, if people want to come over here. They attacked the PGA, and they attacked, and then they made the people that left kind of attack the PGA, not like directly or anything like that.
It was in their agreement.
But that's what I'm saying. No, they made them,
yeah.
But they made them kind of be like, oh, this is so much better, and kind of promote theirs and say, like, it was so bad on that one. Like, I'm better off here. Like, to be honest, it didn't feel genuine. Nothing about Live felt genuine. And
it was 8 days. Yeah, Eric, I get what you're saying here.
Yeah.
Well,
2 weeks. Let's just call it what it is.
I mean, there's also that. Sergio did attack. I mean, he was, but that's Sergio in nature. Yeah, some did.
Some did that went the only one route, and I think that was the wrong way to do it. And I think that made you look worse.
Sergio attacked before he left, though. Like, that was painful.
Sergio attacked all the time. Sergio's the one who's Sergio. Like the ones who like Sergio and like
Good, Dave. That was the perfect way to describe it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what it was. He was doing that before Live was a thing, so it's not right. And even Phil was doing that, was complaining before Live was there. They just then had someone that they could go and be like, "Oh, we're going to try and prove that we were right." When in reality, you just took a paycheck and you weren't right.
Right.
So
yeah. So,
but great. That was the thing. Great season on the PGA Tour.
Right.
Yes. Great for golf this year. It was an amazing season. We're going to continue this on Tuesdays now. We're still going to talk golf. We're still hoping
it's hard. I mean, it was, as popular as the show is, it was really hard.
We don't want to embarrass the NFL. That's all we don't.
We don't want to take away from the NFL viewership. Yeah,
we love the NFL. I love college football. We love football season just as much as we love golf. So we don't want to take away from them. That's why we don't do this on Sunday when the PGA plays. That's why we do it on Mondays. Correct. So we're going to go the day after. For
some of us have enough money riding on some of the games.
What, Phil? I mean, and so
we do odds with Dave
next week. If we have some of you that have been invited to our fantasy football league, we're going to do a live draft on here next week. For fantasy football teams, so we're going to throw some fantasy football in here. We did kind of our picks for golf this year. We want to try to get you all as our fans in because you all are fantastic and we love your comments on here. That's why we do this show live.
And for those people that weren't in, we are also going to do a pick'em league. That we can set up.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it out there. Do you want to do a college pick'em league? And can we start that and get that going?
So Dave and I have done a NFL pick'em and a college pick'em for now almost 20 plus years that we have battled back and forth on. Actually, it's 22 years old.
22 years now.
It's 22 years that we've done this pick'em league. So we will do one. We will do an NFL and a college one. New
Bradley, he's wearing the shirt.
I am.
True. So it is football season. So we'll do a college. They'll be on ESPN. Is the easy way to do that. What we'll do is we have the fantasy football. We limited that to just a few people for this year. But the pick'em, we will open up both of them to everybody. I will post our link on our Instagram page.
Yes.
And so you can join. I'll have that up. The college one I'm going to have up by like tomorrow because this Saturday.
Yes.
And college actually has already started. But pick'em
probably
won't start.
I don't think our games start till next week, though.
Pick'em won't start till next week. No, they don't. So we'll get that started this week. So keep an eye on our Instagram page for that. And
depending on how the weather gets, keep an eye on our Instagram page for just updates from hurricane, whatever it is down here.
Well, yeah. And also, Duff, I'm still gonna try. I will try to since you're picking me for your Ryder Cup team as your fourth pick.
Brad, I can't.
Oh,
Brad, I can't.
oh my God. Oh, do we have to take it?
Brad, I can't. I can't. I just can't. I can't with you, Brad.
Where's Heidi?
Yeah.
There's a flag.
She's hiding the dish towels.
Right.
The dish towel. Throw a dish towel. Flag on the play.
All right, guys. Well, hope everybody has a great week. We will see you next week.
On Tuesday next week. Don't forget.
On Tuesday. Well, we'll actually see you tomorrow night too.
It's tomorrow
We'll
night.
see you tomorrow night.
We'll see you tomorrow night.
Start that Tuesday, Chen. Don't forget to be bartender.
Don't. And if you're dealing with the storm, stay safe, everybody.